Hey, we are live. My name's Skip Clark. This is Skip Clark, the Skip Happens podcast. And thank you for joining us here again tonight. We're live on YouTube. We're live on my Facebook page. And, you're going to be watching it live. You can see it right now, obviously. If not, you want to wait and watch it a little bit later, that's okay, too, because it'll all be posted. As you know, when I come on here and because of what I do, my connections to Nashville, I love to sit down with the new artists. I don't know if she's exactly a new artist, but she's been doing it for a little bit. And she's hooked up with some really good people in Nashville. That's a good sign right there. She's off and running. She is, let me just put it this way. Her name is Kimberly Burke. And Kimberly, hello. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. First of all, I need to ask, where in the world is Kimberly? Where are you?
I am in the panhandle of Florida on the Gulf Coast right now, and I split time between here and Nashville.
Really? Well, do you like drive up to Nashville? Is it a pretty easy drive?
It's not bad. It's like 6.5 hours, so it's not that big deal. You know, you can leave in the morning and be there midday, so it's an easy drive.
Yeah. And how often do you get to Nashville?
About once a month right now. Yeah, I go, about once a month, do songwriter nights, perform, do, some promotional stuff. But yeah.
All right. I got to ask some basic questions. How long have you been doing music?
My whole life. I went to school for music. I have a degree in music. And, I've been singing since I was teeny tiny, performing in anything they'd let me perform in, and all different kinds of bands. I mean, you name it. But I went to school for it, but it wasn't, it was supposed to be Plan A, actually. But I also rode horses my whole life, and that was my other passion. And that actually became my job for many years. So I've kind of switched gears now, and I'm back to music full time, which is awesome. So
do you still have horses?
I do. I'm greatly downsized from where I was because I ran a working show barn for years, so we would have anywhere from 15 to 25 horses, at any given time. And now I have one horse that made the cut as my pet and, buddy who came with me to Florida. And that's it right now. Actually, I have one old retired horse that's at a friend's farm in Virginia. We didn't want to try to move him. He's 28 years old. We didn't want to move to Florida. It was going to be too hard on him. So
I'm not up on horses. I love horses. I'm not up on horses. What is the average lifespan of a horse?
It depends on the type of horse. Honestly, I mean, there are some hardier than others, but, late 20s or so, mid to late 20s. This guy's, looks like a movie star. He's a young looking guy, but he's 28 years. So.
And what's his name? I mean, do they respond to their names and all that?
Oh, yeah. Horses are super smart. They're kind of like people, though. There's some smart ones and not so smart. But his name's Wally. That's my retired guy in Virginia. And then I've got Casey here in Florida with me. So
awesome. But let's talk about your music. So you've been doing that quite a while. You make the Well, wait a minute. I want to back up even a little bit further. We were talking before we actually went live.
Yeah.
And said, have you ever been to upstate New York? And what did you do?
I was born in Oswego.
Yay!
So I'm a hometown girl, technically. Yeah.
So. Wow. So how long were you there till you made the move to, where'd you go? Florida and then
Tennessee, actually. So I was in New York until I was 10. And then we moved to Knoxville for 2 years. So talk about culture shock. I moved to Knoxville for 2 years and then to Virginia. So I kind of grew up in Virginia, you know what I mean, for the most part, and was in Virginia for a really long time until recently. And we just moved to Florida this year, like in May. So it's a new thing.
You talk about Virginia, I think of horses. My daughter in Virginia. And there's a lot of farms, a lot of just beautiful, beautiful acreage and the beautiful white fences and the beautiful barns, and you see a lot of horses. So that would make
it's huge horse industry. And I mean, we were super fortunate. We were right in what they call the Shenandoah Valley, outside of Winchester, Patsy Cline, territory. And I mean, it's really a beautiful area, but you're right. It's tons of horse farms. We kind of eat, sleep it, and breathe it there. So,
You talk about, you say we moved to Florida. I would assume
yeah, my husband,
you have
yeah,
a husband and
Mhm.
you probably have a couple of
I
kids.
do. I have a son, and
Oh, yeah.
I know he's kind of back and forth between Florida and Tennessee as well. And, but yeah, my husband and I moved here, and my husband got to check off his list of always wanting a boat. So he has a boat now. And so yeah, we've gone from farmers to
Yeah.
beach bums.
It's like Kimberly. I need you to go work a few more gigs. We got to make another payment on this boat.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly.
Kidding.
Well, it's a step down from horses, though. There's nothing. Horses are crazy. At least the boat you can put in the dock and walk away.
Well, you could tie up a horse and walk away, or no?
Not for long.
Okay.
Not for long.
Horse whisperer, right?
I'm sorry.
Because you've been training horses.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I been a horse trainer for a professional horse trainer since I was 18. Yeah.
Wow. So, do you play your music for the horses? Do you like grab your guitar? Do you go like, let's say you go into the barn? And I think that'd be cool to do. I think.
Horses, yeah, they love music. It's very soothing. They do. I mean, animals like music, but I do. It's been known to happen. Just sit in the barn, especially in Virginia. Right now my horse doesn't live at our house. He's at a boarding facility, so
Sure.
I don't usually go over there with my guitar very often, although I have. But yeah, it was a regular thing to kind of play music and sing. And I mean, I sing, kind of hum and sing to myself 24/7 anyway. So whoever's around me for any period of time is going to hear something. So
Tell me and tell all of us a little bit about your music. How would you describe it?
I would describe it as country. Definitely what I'm writing now, I would definitely describe as country. Maybe a little undercurrent of soul and blues, but definitely country and writing a lot of country. It's not all I have ever done. I mean, I have a degree in voice performance, and I've studied classical music, and I'm a classical singer as well, which you would never know from hearing the stuff that's on the radio. But I've been in rock bands, funk bands, blues duos, you name it over the years.
You've done it all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it all crosses over now, anyways. I mean, a lot of that, years ago, we never had horns in country music, and now we have a lot of horns in country music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it goes the other way too. I mean, a lot of bands, popular bands, didn't have a steel guitar. Now a lot of them are getting the steel guitar, so it kind of goes both ways. So.
No, for sure. Yeah, I think good music is good music, right? And I think the genre lanes have broadened a lot. I mean, this is something I've talked about with friends. Like you look at artists, from the past, like say Tom Petty. Like, what would Tom Petty be now? Would he be a country artist? Quite likely he might be. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of stuff like that. Janis Joplin, like a lot of Janis Joplin would be considered country. So I think it's a broader genre, which, makes some people happy and some people not so happy. I mean, I think it's just, good music is good music. And I think the thing I love about country music is how it tells a story. I like songs that you can really connect to with a story. And I think that's a key component of country music.
You're reading my mind, because I was going to talk about that a little bit, how, whether it's you or somebody else in the country genre, when you write a song, it's a lot about your real life. It's about things that are going on, and it's about things that just about anybody can relate to. I mean, I've caught myself driving down the road in my truck, and I'm listening to a certain song, and I go, damn, you know what? That was me.
It's really been written for me. Yeah. No, I think that's the cool part about songs, right? Is like, I mean, a song is really kind of a frozen moment in time.
Sure.
And I think our job as songwriters is to really take people on a journey, paint a picture of, it's sort of that movie inside your head, that you take people on a ride there. And what it means to the songwriter, what it means to me might not be what it means to the person listening. And that's cool. I mean, it's, because you're able to connect to it in your own personal way. And, that emotional connection is, one of the coolest things about music, for sure.
It is. The pandemic, what was that, 4 years ago now?
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time for, whether it's doing what I do or doing what you do,
Right.
we no, that's when we started doing a lot of it this way.
Mhm.
It just, and I imagine for your songwriting, it was pretty much the same, that you couldn't go certain places, but yet you would do a Zoom call or something along those lines. But to me,
Right.
it's not as effective. You don't feel the body language. You don't. I don't know, something about it.
Yeah. Well, there's, I think, I love songwriting, but I really love performing as well. And there's just the energy that you get from a live audience really just can't be duplicated. And it's in every performance is different because you have different energy from different crowds. And some nights certain songs really resonate, and then the next night it's maybe a completely different song. And that's one of the fun parts about playing gigs and even playing covers is, I like to try to really kind of customize when I'm looking out at a crowd, like, you kind of get clues, as the night goes on, like, okay, well, this crowd's really feeling this. And then you might take things in a different direction than
Oh,
you did the night before.
100%. Tell me about your songwriting, how your creative process. And I know that sounds like a pretty generic question. Well, maybe it is, but tell us about your creative process.
I would say most of the time, uh, I might have like a general idea, like, something kind of comes up in conversation, or I'm going through something or see something, feel something. And then maybe like sort of like a hook line might come out of that, or an idea.
Mhm.
But as far as the process itself, I mean, I generally kind of write everything together. So it's, I'll sit down with my guitar and, start to kind of play a chord progression, and then sort of melody and lyrics tend to kind of filter in, all together. Um, but then I also write a lot when I'm driving, because I drive a lot, and I, go back and forth to Nashville. And, my husband and I, we make jokes that I should just get in the car and drive to Nashville, like whether I need to be there or not, because I inevitably write something, when I go back and forth. And so that's kind of like a little different type of process. It's that sort of stream of consciousness almost, you're like going down the road. And
You do a lot of thinking when you're driving. I mean, you're
yeah.
cruising along and you just, hey, I got a 6-hour drive, and whether you're listening to the radio, or maybe you want to think about certain thoughts and whatever comes out of those. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
it.
Stuff starts to kind of noodle its way in. And I think like that's kind of I've had some pretty cool songs that have manifested from just drives. But yeah, typically I write with my guitar.
I love that. I love that. So you get to Nashville. You've been at certain writers' rounds.
Yeah.
You get involved with that. You've also been at, oh God, I just had a brain fart. The Bluebird.
Yes.
Yes. And what's that feel like to you? I can't believe I couldn't think of that. It's like I just had a brain fart. I don't know.
That's okay. It happens to all of us. It will probably happen to me at some point. So don't feel bad.
I get old. I
You
have a
know,
lot of those.
what everybody talks about the Bluebird, it's an iconic place. Yeah, it totally is. I think it is a very unique animal because it is such a listening crowd. You can hear a pin drop in that place because they hang on every word, on every line. And it doesn't really matter how much you perform. When you perform at the Bluebird, it's different. There's an intensity that is a little intimidating, but also inspiring. And yeah, it's a cool experience. Every time I've done it, it's a cool experience. And I also do a lot of the writers' nights at the Commodore Grill in Nashville.
Yep. Yep.
And she's been really supportive and, invites me out to play a lot at those. But yeah, I both of those places, the caliber of songwriting and of artists that you can meet is phenomenal.
You never know who's going to walk in, correct?
No, you don't. You don't know who's going to walk in. And I mean, you know, I've been at writers' nights where I'm performing and, you know, I'm sharing the stage with Grammy winning, you know, songwriters that have written
Sure.
multiple hit songs and, you know, are friendly and welcoming. And, you know, it's a pretty cool community. I mean, I have to say, on the whole, it's a welcoming, encouraging community. I mean, sure, it's competitive, but it's not, I would say it's an encouraging environment.
You say competitive, but everybody helps each other out.
Yeah, it is. And I think, you know, I've been in a lot of things in my life that are competitive. The horses are very competitive and you get to the higher levels. And I have to say music, like Nashville in particular, you know, you would think would be, you know, kind of a rough town as far as the competition. And it is very competitive in the sense that you have so many ridiculously talented people in one spot. But every time I go, people are like, hey, yeah, you should do this writers night. And yeah, you should meet so-and-so and maybe we can get together and co-write, or, you know, I mean, it's a very encouraging, like, you know, artistic place where everybody's trying to kind of, you know, just get to the next level. And, you know, I think it's super cool. You know?
But there's so much of that going on.
Yeah.
It could be like 12 things going on in one night. You want to go there, and then you want to go here, and then you want to go over there. And it's like, I don't know, which one should I go to? You know, I mean, it's just a great opportunity no matter where you go, I would assume.
It is. I mean, every time you go out, I mean, you don't even have to go to a writer's night. You could go out for lunch and bump into
Done it. Yeah.
somebody amazing. You strike up a conversation. I mean, I've gone out for coffee there and been like, oh my God, that's, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know, yeah.
Right there with you. Yeah. Of course, that's what Nashville is all about. I mean, if you go to Nashville, you just had that's what happens. You just be the fan that's over the top. You just got to be cool.
Right.
You know, the funny story is the very first time many years ago I went to Nashville and I was at this event and I think Lone Star was there, Brooks and Dunn were there. And
like,
oh my God. I'm calling home going, honey, I see Richie McDonald, Lone Star. He's right. He's wrote, you know, I'm doing all that. Now it's like, you just got to be like, hey,
yeah, cool.
Good to see you, man. You know what I mean? You got to be cool.
Yeah.
But there is that initial, you know, like, oh my God. But they live a life like you and I. They go to the grocery store and they have to get they gotta, you know, they're paying a lot for groceries just like we are. So it's all the same. It's all the same.
Well, yeah, and here at the beach, so where we are, we're in the area that they call 30A. And there's a lot of Nashville that have like successful Nashville that has like second homes here, and there's a lot of people that split time. So like you could be walking through the grocery store here and see, you know, like major stars, you know what I mean, from Nashville. And that's the same thing here. It's like, be cool, like on vacation, like just leave them alone, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if
appreciate, you know.
I think Billy Dean is down there somewhere. I know he's on the beach, but I just don't know where exactly. But I mean, we've had him on the podcast and we talked about it, but I know he was in Florida. So
yeah, like that Gulf Coast, like that whole, you know, from, you know, really like that part of Alabama, like, you know, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Alabama, all the way down to Panama City Beach, Florida, is definitely, you know, there's a lot of Nashville that spends time there. So you kind of know who you're going to see.
In Alabama, they got some pretty cool studios down in is the Gulf Shores or whatever in that area. They've got some cool studios in that area, and I know a lot of artists will go there and you know, cut whatever they're going to cut. Hang on, you know what I want to do? I want to check out the hurricane tracker for you and give you.
Okay, yeah, you might want to. I haven't looked at it recently.
No, that's all right. But,
not paying attention, Skip. It's not good.
No. You know what? You've been pretty lucky. Let's just say, I mean, where you're located with all the storms that have been coming across, and I think there's another one now, maybe not to the extent of Milton or one of the previous hurricanes, but it's still there. So.
No, it is. I feel so bad for, you know, the people south of us that have had, you know, such horrible luck. And it is, you know, it's one of the parts of living in Florida, you know, on the coast, but it doesn't make it any less terrifying. And, you know, we watch every time.
near did you say Pensacola? Are you near Pensacola or no?
So we're close to, like, if you look at Destin on the map, we're close
Okay.
to
I got it.
Panhandle. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I know it's a great radio station in Pensacola. So that's
Okay.
yeah, it's 98.7. But I love them. They're the cat. So it's pretty cool stuff. But so you get up to Nashville. When you're up there, do you get to play out at all besides the writers' nights? Do you do anything on Broadway? Do you go to some of the bars like out of town? So
I've played, well, I played at 12 Keys. I haven't played on Broadway yet because up until we moved in May, I wasn't really available enough to dedicate that much time to being there. So that's the promotion company that I work with. That's one of the things that we've been kind of discussing, is starting to play on Broadway some, now that my schedule isn't as determined by farm ownership, and having to be available for that lifestyle. So that's kind of on the goal for this coming year, is to be playing in Nashville more and to get out more and to do more in general with, the writers' nights and more just promotion. I'm really lucky right now because the single that I put out in September is on the radio and, been picked up by quite a few stations. So I'm super stoked about that.
And it sounds something like this.
It does.
It does. It sounds really familiar to you.
It does sound kind of familiar.
Just play just a little bit of it. Hang on. I will get out.
I've been shooting whiskey, I've been drinking wine, Damiana and tequila, a little bit of lime, and now I'm seeing double, baby, it's me and you. My friends say it's unhealthy, I need to get on track. Promise to disown me if I take it back, and I know they're right, but it's hard to fight when I'm missing you. The circle that needs to be broken. This pain is the path that I've chosen. Find my way to that lost time place. Back to the girl that I was before. I was the girl with you days.
Wow. You go, girl.
Thank you.
Woo. Yeah. Now, is that your regular band? Did you hire studio musicians? And where
that is a Nashville band that we put together with the help of the producer Nick Worley. So I had that was recorded at Blackbird.
Nice.
So it doesn't really get a whole lot better than that. And so I had a fantastic group of musicians. Xander Wyatt was the band leader and on acoustic guitar and mandolin. And I had Gideon Klein on electric guitar. Gabriel Klein, his brother, on percussion and drums. What? Jay Weaver on bass. And
that's like an all-star lineup.
It is, and Ty Bailey on keyboards.
See, a lot of people don't realize is that an artist like yourself, when you go into a studio, really the band is made up of professionals. They play from everybody, from the newest artist all the way up to Reba McEntire or whoever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So those are the people that you're hiring to be on your album or on your single. So that's cool.
No, everybody in that band is currently touring with someone. Like, for example, like Xander Wyatt is touring with Larry Fleet right now, who's been on tour with Morgan Wallen.
Yes, absolutely.
So I mean, I was very, very fortunate, and I mean, they're all touring musicians, and and Nick Worley, the producer, did a fantastic job, and and Blackbird is just an amazing studio.
Says it all right there. I mean, anybody that knows anything about the music, anything about what's going on in Nashville, and Blackbird comes up, you go, wow. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, no, it's legit. No doubt. It's a fantastic experience. I mean, I could move into Blackbird. It's very, very cool.
I geek out in those places.
Yeah, it's easy to do. It's easy to do.
Yeah, I go in and I see everything that's going on. It's like, this is so freaking cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's an amazing facility. And, I love the vocal booth. Like, that's just one of those places, like,
Yes.
I stay in the vocal booth all day,
Mhm.
and sing. And I really love being in the studio. And it's such a cool collaborative thing. You walk in with your scratch takes of your songs, and, um, everybody adds their own, parts and flair. And then the next thing you know, it's like what you've been hearing inside your head comes to life.
It
And
all comes together.
yeah, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. So
So, are you the only musician? Is your husband a musician? Are the kids, are they doing it at all? Or is it just you?
my husband is definitely not a musician. He would
He's a
say
boater.
he's yeah. He is a big fan. He's a speaker carrier.
Nice.
But he loves music.
Put him
And
to work. I got
um my son does do some music. He plays saxophone, and he does do some writing. And in fact, he and I have been co-writing a little bit recently.
Well,
So that would be kind of cool. He does a lot of jazz and stuff like that. And he's really very talented. He does not do it for a living, although he could. But it's a good just outlet for him, and he enjoys doing it. You know what I mean, on that level. So
absolutely. Saxophone is, I would describe it as a very sexy
it
instrument.
is.
There's something about the saxophone,
Yeah.
I don't mean this in a creepy way, but it could be very seductive. It's just something.
No, you're absolutely right. It's a very cool, sexy instrument. And and he kind of grew up, on a lot of R&B and old, soul and stuff. And you can really hear that influence in what he does,
Yeah. Is it a alto or tenor sax?
Alto.
Alto. Yeah.
Mhm.
John Williard is, I don't know if you can see the comments there. John Williard is a voiceover artist. He was the voice of the CMAs for a lot of years.
Uh-huh.
He's a big fan of the Skip Happens podcast, and we do a lot of things to, I shouldn't say, he's done a lot of things for me. And I just see he's chiming in there. He was the man, the voice that you hear. You still hear it everywhere nowadays. And I'll see a commercial come out or something, and I'll go, it's John Williard. It's John Williard. Well, he's watching. He's listening right now.
Oh, cool. Well, hello, John. Yeah, no, I can't see the comments. So
all right.
I include me in.
See that or not? Yeah. He says, happy to do it for you. Well, thank you, John. But no, such a cool guy. One of the cool guys. So I have to ask you, training horses, traveling, and doing what you did, more or less, training horses, going up and down the East Coast and all that. I mean, it's got to be a pretty good job. A lot of traveling. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's something that you love to do. But now you've kind of put that on the back burner. You've picked the guitar up even more, and you're really concentrating on that. Why?
I was always torn between my two loves, you know what I mean, of music and writing. And I'm very fortunate in the sense that I've somehow been able to do both as careers, I've known what I wanted to do since I was 3 years old. You know what I mean? If you look at my baby book, it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a singer, and I want to ride horses. I want to be a singer and a cowgirl is what it said. And so, that hasn't changed. And luckily I'm crazy enough that I thought that those could be, viable career paths, and it worked, and the thing is, they're both very all-consuming, and I went to school for music, and I was kind of on that path, and I just had some opportunities arise with the horses that I hadn't really counted on, and that it just sort of snowballed into, one thing onto the next. And that was also like a lifelong passion of mine. So it was just kind of like, okay, that sort of became the front runner as far as the career. It was never a choice of which one I liked more. It was just I couldn't really do both at that level at the same time. But I always felt like there was just really something missing, because music was really supposed to be what I pursued, and it was just it derailed a little bit. And I think I did my first album of original songs when I was 17.
Oh my God. just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, right. We wish. But yeah, I mean, exactly. And I think, it's just a huge part of what I wanted to do. And I sort of, got to a point where I had kind of reached a lot of the goals that I wanted to in the world. And there was this, just real longing for wanting to really chase music on a level that, I kind of hadn't had the opportunity before. Like a lot of people, regardless of what the career path was, my day job, as it, is as unusual as my day job was, but my day job and, what I was, doing, running a farm, having a family, all these things, kind of kept, limiting what I could do. And at this point, I am able to pursue it on a level that I haven't had the opportunity to do before.
It's awesome.
And luckily, it's, moving forward in a very positive direction. So I'm stoked, and I try really hard to kind of encourage people, like, if there's something you want to do, like, just do it, take a step forward, and, follow my own advice,
Yeah, I have to. I hear you. I mean, I'm trying to branch off and do different things. I'm okay over here now. I don't have to worry about certain things, and now I can do whatever's over here. I totally can relate to that. Totally. But
well, and I think too, like when we're a little bit younger and you don't have the same life experience necessarily, and that doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of 22-year-olds, writing incredible stuff. Like, Taylor Swift started writing incredible stuff when she was, a teenager. Absolutely. But I think, at every point in your life, you're coming from a different perspective. And I think, maybe my path as a songwriter and an artist is coming from a perspective, because of where I've been and, how that got me to where I am now, and I think that it's so easy to kind of lull ourselves into, well, but I chose this path, so I'm just going to stick with it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think if there's something that you really have like a hardcore desire to chase, and you can, even, it doesn't have to be like, full tilt, but on any level, if you can chase it on any level, I think it's important to do,
Absolutely. 100%. That's great advice. Anybody that's watching this, I mean, do it. Just get out there and do it. You can do it. Don't wait.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Like, it doesn't work, so, I mean, I think that's kind of the lesson I've been teaching myself as this whole process has gone on,
No, absolutely. When you say you ride the horses, are you running with them? Do you do the jumps? Do you know what I mean? No, I'm not.
The jumps. Yep. So I was a hunter jumper trainer.
Okay.
So I did show horses. I started Western as a kid, actually, and I rode Western some. But so English riding. I know you're not a horse guy, so I'll walk you through. So English riding primarily. And a hunter jumper trainer. So yes, we would jump a course of jumps like in an arena. And it's judged like on precision and horse form and, smoothness, those kinds of things. Just to kind of give you the basics.
Falling off.
And yes, definitely not falling off, although I've done that plenty.
I'll just say I'd be the one falling off. It's like,
oh, you would be. Yeah. Well, everybody does in the beginning. It's okay.
I guess.
Sometimes it's okay.
Yeah. And plus, I think it would hurt a little bit, if you know what I mean. Because I see them like jumping up and down on that saddle, or the way the horse is moving. And then your body, if it doesn't move with the horse, it's not going to be very comfortable. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it does make sense. I have 6 pins and a plate in my right knee that would testify to that statement. Yeah. So
how do you travel when you go through the airport metal detector?
It's not very comforting, but I rarely set it off, so I don't know what that says about TSA. But yeah, I have set it off before. But yeah, I've got 6 pins and a plate in my knee, and that was riding a 3-year-old, like a new 3-year-old. Yeah.
Okay.
He zigged and I zagged.
A little bit. Tell me, and now I just played a little clip of the single, but tell me about the single. And how did it come about?
Okay, so it's called The Girl I Was Before.
Okay.
And it's, basically a story song that we can all kind of relate to, I think. You're in a relationship with somebody for a long time, and whenever you're in that relationship, your identity kind of becomes intertwined. You're sort of a part of that couple.
True.
And I think, when we have to sort of redefine ourselves post relationship, you start to realize, maybe parts of you that you've lost or changed or whatever. And there's that sort of sense of returning, back to your kind of true self. And that's kind of the story of the song, of sort of lamenting the loss of the relationship, but kind of talking about returning
Sure.
To the girl that you were before.
And how does the whiskey in the words?
Yeah.
The whiskey.
So I've been drinking whiskey. I've been drinking wine, Damiana, and tequila with a little bit of lime. But now I'm seeing double, but it's me and you.
So let me ask, on one of those trips to Nashville, did that song come about?
So it's funny, that line, I will admit, it's funny. I had some friends that we were sitting around one night, and we were drinking a little bit, and we weren't drinking all those things though, but and they said, you don't have enough songs with alcohol in them. And it was like this joke, like, you don't have enough songs with alcohol in them. And so the song started, that part of the song started as a little bit of a joke, like between us. And then it took this turn and evolved into that, completely different, like a much more serious, song. With sort of bits and pieces of personal life kind of mixed in with a little bit of a story inside my head. But yeah, it's that's a lot of, I would not recommend that lineup that is I don't think that would be a good lineup. But I'm surprised I don't get asked more. I'm sorry, my allergies in Florida are giving me a hard time. I'm surprised I don't get asked more about Damiana, because a lot of people don't. Do you know what Damiana liqueur is? Have you ever had it?
I have not. No.
Okay, so it's a cactus. Yes, but it's a cactus liqueur, and they make it in Mexico.
Okay.
And I never knew about it, being from New York originally and Virginia.
We don't have it. But go ahead.
Yeah, we don't have Damiana up there, but my husband introduced it to me, and it's you can get it in California, which is where he's from, and Mexico. And but anyway, you'll have to try it in a margarita, because if you have it in a margarita,
I have to make note of that.
Yes, it will change you'll be focused on doing margaritas that way from now on.
It will change you in ways you don't.
It might, yeah. You might want to just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Little bit.
Moderation.
Oh my gosh. So Kimberly, where can we get a hold of your music?
So I'm on every kind of platform, streaming platform you could want to find me on. So that single we just heard snippets of is called The Girl I Was Before. Yeah. I also have a couple of albums that are out. I have an album named Flight Risk that is out that you could hear. I have one called Seasons that's, been out for a few years now. I have a single that's out called No Better Love, which is also from the Flight Risk album. We are going to release another new single on Valentine's Day.
Nice.
So that's something to look forward to, and it is sort of Valentine's Day related. So that should be coming out on Valentine's Day. So kind of excited about that, and should be going back into the studio to Blackbird. Not exactly sure when. We haven't scheduled it yet, but before too long. So I have enough now for a new album. So we're going to start.
Wow. So that'd be number 3 for you.
Yes.
If you have enough. That is.
Yeah.
I knew you had at least one.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great, Kimberly. That is awesome.
Thank you.
Do you get the opportunity to go to the country radio seminar at all?
No, but I actually just had Nancy, who you know from Grassroots.
I love Nancy.
And Nancy's awesome. So she and I were just talking about that today, and I'm going to be going this year. So this coming year.
I'll see you there. Because I've been doing that for 5 years, and we usually everybody kind of hooks up and says hello, and meet somebody in person for the first time. It's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
I've had so many artists on, a lot of the newer artists. Now, I wouldn't even consider you a new artist. I mean, you're into your third album.
Well, I'm new in the sense that it's finally getting promoted in a proper way, so more people are getting exposure to it. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, thank you for thinking of me in that way. But I'm new to you, and I'm new to a lot of people, and that's okay. You know what I mean? It's just working on getting it out so that more listeners can hear it. And it's really been a very cool experience. I mean, I'm thrilled to think that, it's getting picked up by radio stations, and every week I get the report of, more spins are being added, and I've gotten a really nice response from, different interviews that I've had, and, the radio station's liking it. So that's all I can ask for. And, I have a very loyal fan base, hoping to have a bigger, fan base like everybody. But the awesome fans that I do have are very, very loyal and very into my original music, and super positive, about the direction my music is kind of taken, with this new single, kind of where we're going. And I think that's, I feel very fortunate. I feel very blessed in that way, for sure.
And like I mentioned in the beginning before we went out live, the fact that you do have grassroots, and I know a lot of different promotional companies you could go with, but this is one company that's made up of musicians and radio people, and to have that those two people, or those two groups of people working together, just makes it for everybody understands what's going on. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, it's, you're really only as good as your team, and, you can be writing good things or putting good, music out. And if you don't have the right team to put it in the right hands to get the exposure that you need, then, unfortunately it just sits and it gets lost. And, these days we live in a world that is more accessible to musicians than it ever has been, but it's also very easy to get lost, in the sea of music, and it's these days we work on fighting the algorithm, you know what I mean, and using it to our advantage. And I think if you don't have professionals that's what they do all day long, it's difficult, I think it's difficult. So, grassroots promotion has been fantastic. I have people helping me with streaming. I have people helping me get it out on radio. I have, mentor sessions with Nancy, who that you mentioned. And, it's great to have those opportunities to be pushed, and to get really positive feedback on, what's good, what could be better, the direction, and just really have it a well-rounded attack, because that's what it kind of takes to get to the next level.
Those are the people that know how to do it.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Tackle a certain situation as well. If they're not so happy with something, they're going to tell you, but they're going to tell you how you could do it better.
Yeah, it's a very positive experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And you understand. I mean, it's one of those things that, not all songs that you send down the pipeline are going to be, like, you're not going to keep them. There's a lot that gets left on the cutting room floor, and that's, like, you write something, like I wrote a song this morning and I sent it to Nancy, and, thankfully she likes it, and but sometimes you write things and you're super excited about it, and then you listen to them 2 weeks later and you're like,
yeah, that sucks.
So that happens.
Certain things. So I do some voiceover work, and it's like, oh, this is great. And I'll give it a little time. I'll go do something, then come back and give it a listen and go, that really sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be sad, but true,
I know. It's so true. You're so awesome to chat with. I know we haven't met before till tonight, but to be able to talk about you, to talk about your music, and, where it's going, and the team that's behind you. And I'm a little jealous that you're in the panhandle of Florida, but I know. Roll the eyes. Go ahead.
All right. I love New York. I was born there.
Well, Well, do you love the snow? You lived in Oswego. You got the wind off of Lake Ontario. You get
yeah, the snowbelt action. Yeah, so we could cross country ski out our back door. I remember that as a kid. And snowmobiles. I mean, my favorite memory. My grandmother is still around at 98, and
God bless her.
Yeah, she's awesome. But one of my favorite memories as a kid is her like jumping the snowmobile, like them like having mounds of snow, and my grandmother, my little tiny grandmother, like jumping the snowmobiles. I mean, it's a family affair. I mean, everybody was out on a snowmobile or skiing or, I mean, the fun continues outside. It doesn't matter if there's snow.
So I'll tell you that yesterday we got to 81 degrees.
Woohoo! Wow.
Today it was 70. What's the temperature there?
Oh, it's been in the 80s, but it's been a little bit cooler the past week or so. It's actually been nice. We've had a little bit of a break. But yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. Not gonna lie, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm sort of enjoying.
Good for you.
Being a little bit of a beach bum. I try to go to the beach every morning that I'm home in Florida with my dog. Yeah, I take my dog. So I have we have 2 dogs, and I try to take my dog every morning to the beach. He's become a beach guy. So
what kind of dog?
We have 2. We have a mini Aussie who's 14, Taylor, like the guitar, and then we have a Vizsla. I don't know if you know what those are. It's a Hungarian pointer. And they kind of like a German short hair, except they're the red color.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's a big running, walking, hiking, busy kind of guy, and so he and I go every morning, for a few miles. And
how many miles?
His name is Cash.
I know, but did you just say miles?
Yeah.
How many miles do you walk? Is that
usually at least 3 in the morning? Usually go at least 3, sometimes more if we have time,
And it's a quiet time of the year where the beaches aren't crowded.
Yeah, it does get busy here for sure. We're still in the honeymoon stage of this area, so all the locals are like they're waiting for fall, or they're get kind of over it when it gets really busy, and there's lines and stuff. We're like, hey, you know what? We don't care. We are still kind of tourists, so we're okay with it.
All right. It's all right. Enjoy it. Can I ask, what does your husband do?
He's a builder. He's a carpenter and builder. And
nice. So there's work just about wherever he goes, he can get work. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
So he's did a lot of his specialty is kind of old historic homes, like Victorian homes, and but he does everything.
Does he watch This Old House?
He did, yeah, and he watches a lot of YouTube stuff. He's one of those.
Yes, I mean, come on.
Yeah, he's one of those annoying people in the sense that he can watch a YouTube video about anything and then go do it. You know what I mean? He just has that kind of mechanical mind that. Yeah, it's super cool. I am not that person, but but it is cool. It's. He can build just about anything if he, studies how to do it. So it comes in very handy.
It does. I'm sure it does. Kimberly Burke, she's a musician. You can go online, Google her name, get her music. It's on all the platforms. It's the way it is. It's on all the platforms.
It's on all the platforms. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. Social media, I have to put in the plug, Skip. Social media is Kimberly Burke, BURKE. .music. So you can find me on any of those. If you want to follow me, would be great.
KimberlyBurke.music.
Mm-hmm.
God, I love it. You're so sweet, and good luck to you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. 100%. And I just love talking to people like you. And I look forward to saying hello in person. February, we'll be here before you know it.
Yeah.
I've been going to CRS for probably 25, 30 years. So it's always new people. You get to say hello and all the good stuff. So I look forward to that. It's a great opportunity for you as an artist as well, because there's a ton of radio people. There's a ton of label execs. There's just anybody that's anybody is there. So
yeah, no, I'm excited. It will be great, and it would be super cool to see you. So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. We can hang out in bar lines in the Omni. So
all right, I'll show you about Damiana.
Yeah. You'll give me shit face. I'll be like,
Don't be a bad influence. Yeah.
I know. It's a podcast. I can say that. But very good. Kimberly Burke, thanks for joining us here tonight on Skip Happens. It's just a pleasure talking to you. I love the music. I expect to hear a whole lot more, and I know I'm going to like it. So I can't wait. Keep me posted. You say you got the new one coming out in February.
Yeah.
Let's do this again. We get a little bit closer. I'll let Shannon or Nancy know that I definitely want to do this, or you could put a plug, plug in as well.
Let's do it. That would be great. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. So stay right there. I just want to thank everybody for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Skip Happens. There's a whole lot of these on there, from the newest artist to a very well-established artist, and some of those that have been around a long time. It's pretty cool. I'm just saying. It's pretty cool. So anyways, thanks for joining us, everybody. Stay right there, Kimberly, and good night.